Hi, how are you doing? Thank you for watching. My name is Cairo Attaway. Uh, First of all, I just want to, really introduce myself and let the people who support me and watch all my videos and follow me on my social media, just to give them some more information about me and just let people know why I do what I do, what motivates me, what inspires me, and I really just kind of want to tell my story and kind of shine the light on some things that have gone on in my life, and because we all go through different things. I don't want to tell my story and try to make it seem like I want people to feel sorry for me, to feel bad for me, or that's not the case. I feel like I was put on this earth by my higher power to help people. So now that I've learned that and I've come to realize that, and I know that no matter who you are, rich, poor, doesn't matter. We all go through different things in life. It's a struggle. And I feel like instead of us all, worrying about me, and self, I feel like if we would worry more about other people and what other people are going through, I feel like, we would be a lot more better connected and we'd be able to do better and do more for each other instead of just having to worry about myself and me and mine and making sure I'm okay. But yeah, like I said, my name is Cairo Attaway. I'm 22 years old. Let me just tell you a little bit about myself and what I do. I'm a physical trainer from Waco, Texas. Like I said, I went to Midway High School in Waco. That's one of the biggest high schools in the area. I played football all my life, all through high school, and I had a few opportunities to play in college at the next level. Okay. Um, I've been around fitness, bodybuilding, athletics, like I said, my whole life. I started competing in men's bodybuilding and men's physique when I was 16 years old, and I've been doing so for a while. Like I said, I'm 22 years old now. When I was 19 years old, I was given a 3-year sentence to go to the Texas Penitentiary, TDCJ, for the crime that I did not do, something that I did not do in any way, shape, or form. And that was hard for me, but it taught me a lot. I learned a lot, and I really just want to talk about the situation because when I talk about it, it's therapeutic for me. It's freeing. That way, it's not just stuck in my mind or in my heart. I'm able to get it out. And my mama, she always tells me I can use my story or my testimony to help other people. She always says the tears that you shed, they're not your own. They're for so somebody else can learn from what you've been through, so that they don't have to go through what you went through, essentially. So I was 17 years old, and I was a senior in high school, and it was during football season. It was in November, and we had just beat Garland in the playoffs. We beat Garland High School. We beat them really bad. It was like 70 something to 6, and that Saturday, the next day, the seniors and the upperclassmen on the football team, and some people that weren't athletes, they were planning on throwing this party down the street from my high school. It had been something that had been going on for years and years and years and years, and they still do it. They still have the party every year, and it's one of those things. In Texas, it's kids party. I love to party still. That's just one thing we do, and I was excited. I was excited about it. I've been dealing with some things, and I was ready to graduate. I was ready to graduate and get up out of there, and I just wanted to have a good time. That's all. I was just trying to have some fun with my homeboys, dance with some girls, just party like high school kids do. It's nothing abnormal about it. It's just everybody's trying to have a good time. That's it. And but yeah, the party was that next day, that Saturday night. And I remember my homeboy Miguel, he came and picked me up in his truck because I didn't have a car at the time. He came and picked me up, and you know, he knew my mom, so he came in the house and everything. He said hi to my mom. And I remember before we left, you know, she told us, she was like, you know, hey y'all, you know, don't do anything y'all don't got no business doing. Don't do anything that's gonna get y'all in trouble. And I'm thinking, you know, okay, you know what I'm saying? We just going to have a party. Like it's not no big deal, you know. So we said bye and we, you know what I'm saying, we took off. You know, the party we got there kind of early. So at first it was, you know, it was kind of dry. But then after a while, everybody started, you know, showing up. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's dancing. My homeboy, he was a rapper, so he's up on stage doing his thing. He's rapping. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's dancing. It's people from other schools. Some of my kids from all over Waco. They at the party. Everybody's having fun, you know. And there was this one girl that I had known for a while. We were actually in class together at school. We had second period together, and we had gotten tight over that year. I had just met her, and I wasn't very good at the class we were in. We were in American Sign Language together, right? And I wasn't very good at first, and we started connecting. She would help me with my homework and stuff like that in my classwork. We would be in class together, and then we exchanged numbers, and she would help me with my homework when I was at the house, you know. After a while, we became, you know, kind of close, really good friends, and you know, we started sexting, and you know, probably crossed, you know, a few different boundary lines and stuff like that, as far as things that you're supposed to do with somebody that's not your, you know, your girlfriend, you know, or your boyfriend if you're, you know, a girl, you know. But we got really tight. We were sexting and we would talk at school, and you know, we were just really just two kids having fun. But you know, looking back on it, I could see how it could have gotten out of hand, being that this is not somebody that I really know. So I remember I was at the party, and she came in. She had about 5 of her friends with her. She came in, and she ran straight to me. You know, she ran straight to me, and she's like, "Hey, what's up? I didn't know you were gonna be here." Cause I didn't know she was gonna be there either. You know, but as soon as she got there, she was dancing with me. You know, just having a good time, and you know, we danced for a while. We talked, and then I move on and I go dance with somebody else, or I go hang out with my homies, or whatever. You know, so the night went on and everything. Everything was cool, and then toward the end of the night, you know, the music's still going off, everybody's still doing their thing. She came up to me, you know, she grabbed me, she's hugging me or whatever. And I asked her, I said, "Hey, you wanna go outside? You wanna go chill by your car or something?" And she was like, "Yeah, I wanna give you some head. I'm a 17-year-old kid. Like, at 17, you know, it's just like, you know, I was just like, yeah, you know, because at that time I thought, you know, hooking up at a party was just something that kids do. You know, it's something that you hear about growing up. It's something that you see all the time. You know, this is something that still goes on all the time, every day, to this day. This is nothing new or not of the norm. You know what I mean? Like it was, you know, and at the same time, you know, when I was younger, I remember my mom, she would always tell me, you know, because she was very strict on me and my little brother, you know, she'd always tell us, you know, for people who know better, the consequences are a lot more severe. You know, I knew, you know, and my mom, she raised us in the church growing up. She kept us in the church. So we know right from wrong. And one thing that we were taught is that, you know, sex outside of marriage or before marriage is always wrong. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. And I knew that, but I had gotten too comfortable, living this lifestyle that I had seen or gotten from older kids or whoever, TV, social media, whatever. I don't want to blame it on something else, because at the end of the day, it was a decision that I made as a young man, because when you're 17, you're not necessarily a kid anymore, and that's a decision I made, was to indulge in that. So, I agreed to go out there with her, and she walked me to the car, and I remember before we left, because they were charging $5 at the door, my homeboy Dana, he was standing outside just chilling, and I was like, hey man, is it cool if I borrow $5? I'm gonna go hang out with her, and then I'm gonna whoop, and I'm gonna come back in. He's like, bet. Gave me $5 back, my homeboy. So I'm following her, we're outside now, I'm following this girl to her car, right? I'm not holding her hand, we're not hugged up or whatever, I'm just walking right behind her. She got the keys in her hand or whatever. I'm following her to her car, you know what I'm saying? We get there, she unlocks the back, you know what I'm saying? She gets on the left side, I get on the right, you know what I'm saying? As soon as I get in, boom, she immediately takes my shorts off, immediately, you know what I'm saying? And she did that for not long, maybe 30 or 40 seconds, it wasn't long, you know what I'm saying? And then she leans back, she takes her shorts off, took her shorts off before her shoes, actually. Then she, took her shorts off, her shoes, underwear, everything. And she lays back, she pulls me on top of her, you know what I'm saying? We started having sex, We probably had sex for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, at the most, it wasn't that enjoyable for anybody. And because I remember when we were in the car, the 5 friends that she had brought with her, they came outside the car, and they were like, it was dark, they weren't like shining their light looking in, but they were like knocking, kind of look like young girls do, you know what I'm saying, where I was 17. So, she told me her mom had been blowing her phone up that whole night when we first linked up at the party that night earlier. She told me that her mom had blown up her phone or whatever, because basically, long story short, she had snuck out the house and took her mom's car to the party, and went and picked up her friends. And then before she even got to the party, her mom figured it out and was blowing her phone up saying, hey, you're in big trouble, I need you to come back and bring my car, you're in big trouble, this and that, this and that. So she ended up leaving, but before she left, we got dressed and everything. She got out of the car, and I got on my side. I gave her a hug, said bye to her and her friends, went back in the party, and they left, And I didn't think anything about it for the rest of the night, The next morning, I remember I was at church with my mom, and this girl, she texted me, and she was just saying, what you doing, that type of thing. I was really, at that point, I was trying to blow her off. I was playing the church boy role, like I'm at my church with my mom, I don't want to talk to you, that kind of thing, Then she wasn't my girlfriend, or anything like that. We hadn't put a label on it, and I kind of blew her off, We went back to school, on that Monday, and everything was fine. Everything was still normal. I ended up finding out a little bit later that she had a boyfriend that went to another school, But everything between me and this girl was fine for a little while. It was, that Monday, she was in class, she was talking, hey, what's going on, hugging, everything like that. Tuesday, everything was fine. And I started hearing that people were talking about her in the school. People were talking about that, we had sex, at the party, and that she had a boyfriend, and her friends were talking about, what if your boyfriend finds out, this and that, this and that, this and that. And of course, she had gotten in trouble that night at the party with her mom for sneaking out and taking a car and doing all that. So she had a lot going on. Wednesday, she was in class, and On Thursday, we had class second period. I noticed that she wasn't in class. All I was really thinking about was football. It was second round of playoffs. That's all I was thinking about. And I thought everything was normal, everything was fine. And I remember toward the end of the day, that Thursday, before I went to football practice, the period before football practice, I got called to the office, to the principal's office. And I remember when I got there, my principal was this older white lady. She was kind of just standing outside the door with her arms crossed with like a weird look on her face, like she was like, I don't know, if confused might be the word. Maybe she was confused. And so she told me to come in. She's like, come in, Cairo, come in. So I go and I sit down in front of her desk in the principal's office, and she's talking to me. She's just looking at me at first, but then she says, hey, are you having any problems in your second period class? In your American Sign Language class? And I'm like, no, everything's great, everything's fine. What's going on? She's like, well, someone, said that, you were having problems with other students or the teacher or some of the girls in the class, something like that. And I was like, no one's told me anything. I don't get in trouble, none of that. I never got in trouble through school, so I'm thinking that they got the wrong person, you know what I'm saying? So she's just talking, I found out later that she was just kind of buying time, but she just said, well, we're just trying to figure out if there's anything going on in your second period class that we need to know about. And I'm just like, no, I don't know what's going on, So while we're still doing that, playing that game, I remember the campus police officer, I'll never forget his face. I remember he walked in, because the door was open, he just walked in. He turned to look at me and just stood right beside my principal, and I'm looking at him I'm like, hey man, what's going on? Because me and this guy used to talk, we would always, read each other when we would see each other, but I'm like, hey man, what's going on? And he looked at me like, hey man, I need you to give me your phone. I'm like, okay, but what's going on? He's like, man, I'm gonna give you a sticky note. I want you to write your passcode on it, and then I want you to stick it on the phone and give it to me, and I'm gonna tell you what's going on. At this point, I'm just like, damn, like all right, just here, gave him the phone. Never got that phone back. He said, man, somebody made a report, and they said that you raped them at a party last weekend. And at that point, I knew what was going on, I knew, who the situation was dealing with and all that. Of course, what they said happened was not true in any way. So, of course I was upset. I was immediately upset and hurt by that. But when they told me that, it was just like, okay, well, this is bad. That's probably the worst thing. It's probably the worst thing, one of the worst things that can happen to a 17-year-old boy, especially a black man, at a predominantly white school, per se, I remember they had to call my mom, of course, right, and I can't imagine what it would feel like for somebody to call you and tell you that your child was being kicked out of school because somebody said that they sexually assaulted them. I can't imagine what that might feel like, how much that hurt, how much that hurt my mom, as strong of a woman as she is, that hurt. That was painful, you know. So I remember my mom, she came up to the school, she's crying, she's, as anybody would be, she's crying, like hard, like a lot, And of course they said all the stuff they had to say, saying, oh, well, we gotta put them out of school, and we gotta do this, we gotta do that, and we gotta investigate, and we gotta do all that type of stuff, man. And so they kicked me out of school. And my mom, when we got in the car, she was crying the whole way, and she told me, she kept asking me, like, what happened, what's going on, what's going on, and I just kept telling her, man, Mama, it's not true, Mama, this girl is lying, I don't know what's going on, I don't know if she's embarrassed, or if she didn't want her boyfriend to find out, or if her mom, it was hard to talk about in that moment when it happened at first, but I went home and I had to wait for my dad to get back from work later that night. And then I had to go out there and tell him, hey man, this is what happened. I went to a party, I had sex with the girl, and this is what it led to, but it's not true. We need to fight this, we need to get an attorney, we need to get a lawyer, I'm gonna do whatever I can to clear my name, and I just need y'all to just rock with me and support me and just trust me and believe me. I would never do something like that. I wasn't raised like that. That's not something I would do. And my parents, they helped me. They tried to help me. They got me the best attorney they could get. The best attorney they could get, man. It was hard. It was a tough situation. So they kicked me out of school, and they sent me across the street to the alternative school, and that was a weird thing, because, like I said, I had never been in trouble before. I never saw myself having to do that, having to be in a situation, because I wasn't one of those kids. I played football. I was on the student council. I was in choir. I was in ROTC. I did stuff in the community, at church, and I was in a youth group. I did positive things with myself, because that's how I was raised. So I never saw myself having to go do that. My plan was, I wanted to play football as long as I can and be the best football player that I could be, the best athlete that I could be. And I was always working on myself and trying to be better and trying to get better every day, because I wanted to go and play at the next level and earn a scholarship. Because my mom told me since I was, 6 or 7 years old, you're gonna need a scholarship if you're trying to go to college. That's it. So that was my main goal from 7th grade all the way through my senior year, is working towards that. And now it was on hold. I had some schools that were interested in me and stuff like that. Then when I was at the alternative school, they were helping me. There were some good people over there that really cared about, the kids they had over there, and they helped me. Being that I was a senior, I was able to take my final exams, and get all my credits so I could go ahead and graduate and move on from the high school. I was able to graduate early that January of 2016. I was able to graduate. And I started working. I couldn't talk to my homeboys at the high school about it, or I couldn't talk to the people at my church about it. I didn't want to talk to, my parents about it all the time, over and over again, because there was nothing that could be done. We had to wait for the system and the police and my lawyer to make something happen. We had no control over what was happening to me, what was happening to us as a family. It was hard. I didn't want to keep bringing it up every day at the house, because, I'm bummed out, but they can't do anything about it. So now they're they're fucked up. They're bummed out. They're upset now because they can't help their child. And I didn't like doing it. And I didn't like talking to my lawyer about it. I would tell them all the details, but then it kept like it felt like we just kept going over it. It became tedious. We just kept talking about it and nothing was happening, and it kept hurting me. I just felt like, why is this happening to me? This is not true. I didn't do this. I didn't force anybody to do anything that they didn't want to do, but I still had to go through it and suffer through it. And it was just like, I had to deal with it by myself, Like I said, I had opportunities to go play at the next level. There were two schools in particular. I had Southwestern College. It's a small school out in Kansas, but I always had a dream of going out of state for college. That was my dream, was to go out of state for college and play college ball and do the best that I could. That was it, I wanted to major in kinesiology, and I wanted to become a strength and conditioning coach. I remember during my senior season, we had a guy named Coach Kaz Kazadi from Baylor. He was a strength and conditioning coach at Baylor at that time. And he came and talked to us before a Friday night game, and it just changed my life. Everything about him and his style and what he stood for and what he believed in, I wanted to be just like him. I wanted to be just like that. And that's what I wanted to go to college for, was to be just like him and do exactly what he did. And, they wanted to give me it wasn't huge. I think it was like a $6,000 scholarship, $9,000 scholarship to go to the school. And this is before I got in trouble, but I was talking to him while I was going to the alternative school and finishing up. I was talking to the head coach and my position coach, from their school. I talked to him on the phone. And after a while, they would tell me, before I got in trouble, they would tell me, hey man, we like you, we like what we see in your film, and we want to offer you a scholarship, and we'll get that to you as soon as we can. Of course, I got in trouble, and some weeks went by, and I called the position coach, and he was telling me, yeah, you should have got that by now. I think we were waiting to hear back from your high school head coach, your high school principal, and we didn't hear anything back yet, but I'll look into that for you. So the next day, the head coach of the football team, he called me, and he said that he had found out that I got into some trouble, and that they needed some more information before they went forward and continuing to recruit me, Also, I had been visiting some other schools. There was another one in particular called Howard Payne University. That's out in deep West Texas. And I had been visiting, and because of my grades and my test scores, I was able to get accepted into the school and get an academic scholarship, because it was a lower level school. But they were still recruiting players for their football team. And I didn't tell them my full situation, but I was still waiting to hear back from them as well, if I was gonna be able to join their team in the fall after that summer and everything like that year in 2016. So the coach from Southwestern, he called me a couple of days after that, and they told me that they talked to my head coach and my position coach and my defense coordinator from the high school, and he told me that they pretty much told him, that I got in trouble with the law, that I would be fighting the case, and that I shouldn't be offered a scholarship, and that I probably wasn't going to be able to go to college anytime soon. So he told me that they were going to have to move in a different direction, and he wished me all the best. I remember I was at the house when I got these phone calls, because right after that, my position coach at Howard Payne University, he called me on my phone. He said the exact same thing, man. He said, yeah, man, we talked to your high school coaches, and they told us that you had been in some trouble. your dad, he had kind of told me what you were dealing with, but he didn't tell me the whole story because my daddy came with me when we visited the school, and he kind of told me, hey, my son's been through a lot. He just needs a chance. He just wants to play. That's all. That's all he wants to do is play. We're just asking for a chance and everything like that. But the coach told me, he said, we understand that you got yourself in a little bit of trouble, and you can come here, but we're gonna have to sit out next season in the fall. You're gonna have to sit out that whole first season, and then if you stay out of trouble, and you stay on top of your grades, if you come here, if you decide to still come here, you got a spot on the team in the spring. You can join us in the spring for spring ball. So at that point, I was just like, okay, this is my only opportunity. So I took it, and it made me feel a lot better about my situation, even though I was still completely not in control. I was having to go visit with my lawyer 3 times a week just to talk about, whatever we could do. There were no witnesses. There was no camera evidence. There was no bruises or bite marks, or when they did the whole procedure they have to do when somebody makes their report. There was no scrapping or scratching. There was no semen. There was no evidence that a sexual assault had happened. This was something that was consensual, that both the people wanted. But I think that what happened was, a lot of the wrong people got involved. Her mom might not have wanted her having sex with a black dude. Her boyfriend might have found out, and she might not have wanted her boyfriend to think that she was willingly being disloyal to him. Or, people were talking about her at the school, and she didn't want to seem like she was this girl that didn't have morals. It could have been so many different things, but me and this girl, we never ever talked again. I never knew what the real situation was. It was just terrible. And me and my lawyer, we would meet and we would sit and we would talk, and I figured out that the reason the cop took my phone was because the full report, as my lawyer told me, he said that the full report was that I had taken pictures of her, while we were in the car having sex, and then that I had forced her to have sex. That was the original report. Because what I feel like happened was, because we had been sexting before that, and she had been sending me naked pictures of herself, and I guess that she felt like, or maybe she told her mom after she got in trouble that night of the party, that she had been sending me pictures, or her mom went through her phone and found the pictures she had been sending me, or whatever, and she figured that I would still have them on my phone. So she told them that I had taken pictures of her without her permission, so they took my phone. But, luckily I didn't have any of the pictures left on the phone, so they threw that one out, it was just hard. There was nothing to go off of. There was no, it was, my lawyer basically told me it was 50-50. Like, you can't, there's no evidence. So it's your word against this white family. So, like, what are we supposed to, these people over here said you did this to their daughter. You're saying you didn't do this. There's no camera footage. There's no witnesses. What are we supposed to do? I'm pretending to be, the judge or the jury or the district attorney or whoever, what are we supposed to do looking at that situation? What are we supposed to think? Like, oh, okay, well, they made that up. We're supposed to just take your word for it. You know, how do we handle the situation? It was a lot of bullshit. It was a lot of, I had no control. So I went through, after I graduated from alternative school in January, I started working a couple jobs and trying to get my mind off of it. And I started working out every day, you know. Even when I was in alternative school, I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'd go to the YMCA and I'd work out until about 7:30, take a shower up there. Then I'd be at alternative school by 8 o'clock, 8:15. And then when I get out of alternative school at 3 o'clock, I go right back to the YMCA because I was set and I was focused on moving on with my life. I felt like I was gonna beat this, I was gonna get this behind me, and everything was gonna be fine. So I just had to stay on my grind and do what I've been doing my whole life. Just grind, just work and try to get better every single day. That's all I could do. So I would do that. And I remember in June, it came time for graduation practice because I was still, they still let me walk the stage. And graduation practice was weird, you know, because it was the first time anybody from high school had seen me in a while, you know, since the whole thing happened. And everybody had been talking about it, you know, and I missed everything. I didn't get to go to prom or the senior cookout or all that type of, I didn't get any of that, you know. I was kept separate from all that. I couldn't go watch my team play in the playoffs because I wouldn't feel right. There's a rumor going around saying that I forced somebody to have sex with me. I couldn't do that. I couldn't be around them and my name wasn't clear. But I had to go to graduation practice or I wasn't gonna be able to walk the stage. And I didn't want to take away that moment from my parents and my family who have been supporting me and making sure that I passed and I had good grades so that I would be able to graduate, so that they could have this moment to be proud of me. And it was almost ruined. It was almost messed up. So the day of graduation, I remember, you know, it was awkward because, you know, you have to go over there and they put you in alphabetical order, you know, and sometimes you're not even cool with the people who got the same last name or who have similar close names to you. So, and then me, I had a bad reputation at the time. So nobody wanted to talk to me. None of my old homeboys or people I used to be on the team with or girls I used to be cool with, or none of my teachers wanted to talk to me, none of my coaches, none of, because the parents knew what was going on too, you know. None of my old homeboys' parents that I had grown up with, they didn't want to talk to me. Nobody wanted to mess with me because I felt like, you know, it was half and half. You got 50% of the people that knew about it, that I heard about it, were like, 50% probably, you know, believed that I did something like that, you know, because everybody was talking about it. I wasn't there to defend myself. There's no telling what the story was that was being told. Then you got the other 50% that might not have believed it because they knew who I was as a person, but at the same time, they didn't want to talk to me because they were like, okay, well, I'm cool with him, you know, but I don't want so-and-so or my friends to see me talking to him because they might not be cool with him. They might believe that he did this. So nobody talked to me. Nobody cared how I felt. There was nobody there for me. Just my family, just my mama and my cousins and them and my auntie and them. There was nobody. So I went through the graduation, you know. I ain't, you know, cry or anything like that. I just, you know, I went, we left, and we celebrated as a family. And it was all right, you know. the next day, I remember that was the kickoff of the summer. That was supposed to be the best summer ever. And we still tried to make it that way. Me and my best friend, you know, I'm still tight with my boy Ellis. I just got in the car as a graduation present. And my boy Ellis came, woke me up early in the morning and said, "Hey man, I got us to play," you know, basically meaning, you know, I got something good for us to do today, you know. But that summer, it was, for me, it was, because there was a lot of anger that was still built up. But for me, it was like, you know, I'm gonna have fun, but I want people to know that this is gonna stop me. You know, I felt like everybody knew what was going on with me. And I just wanted to let people know that, you know, I was gonna keep living my life the best way that I could, and that I wasn't gonna let anything stop me from getting to where I was. I was still gonna go to college. I was still gonna play football. I was still gonna have a good time. I was still gonna party and do my own thing, you know. And that's what I did the whole summer. I just worked out, worked, partied all the time. I started smoking weed that summer. And it became, at first, it didn't seem like it was a bad habit or something that was gonna hold me back. Or for me, I used it as therapy, because when I was smoking weed or with my homeboys smoking or drinking or something like that, it took my mind off what I was going through. It took my mind off, you know, what I was dealing with, because I was still having to go to court, you know, every 2 weeks, every month or so. And I was still having to meet with my lawyer twice a week. You know, I was still having to think about it and talk about it. And people were still looking at me crazy everywhere I went, at the store. And I still couldn't talk to my classmates or the seniors or people from school. And I was avoiding people from church because I didn't want them to know what I was going through, because I just wanted to live a normal life. I didn't want to have to do all that, you know. And so after that summer, I remember I said goodbye to everybody, you know, because the college I decided to go to, higher paying university, it was 2 hours up the highway from Waco. Remember when I moved in, because I had gotten cool on, you know, Twitter and social media with a lot of the other young guys that were incoming freshmen to the university, you know. And you know, they knew I played football, and I had announced that I was going to still be playing football for this school. You know, I didn't say when it was going to be, you know. And I had been working really hard on myself. I made sure that, you know, I was in the very best shape of my life when I got there, you know, that fall. And I had a lot of cool homeboys that I gotten tight with over the summer. Because of course they had started practicing a couple weeks before the actual move-in was. The actual move-in wasn't until like August 17th, and then they had been there since like August 3rd or whatever, you know. And they're texting me every day, you know, like, "Hey, what's up? Are you still playing football with us? What's up? We need you on the team." You know what I'm saying? My roommate, his name was Will, who was the kicker. He'd been recruited to play kicker there at the time. He was just in the dorm by himself, like, "What's going on, man? Where are you at?" And then when I actually got there on campus, they were like, "Hey, man, why aren't you playing? We need you to play." And I couldn't actually tell them what was going on, because I didn't want to. I didn't want you to know that, hey, this is what happened, this is why I can't play, because then that can lead to, you know, so-and-so. I might tell so-and-so, hey, this is what happened, and so-and-so might not tell the story right, and then all of a sudden everybody at this new school I'm at knows about the worst possible thing that could happen to me. I just didn't want to do that. I couldn't go through that, you know. So I would tell them, you know, I'm sitting out this year, I'm redshirting this year, whatever, you know, they would believe. I'd tell them, because I just didn't want to deal with that, you know. And that was hard. So I went there for one semester, and, you know, I tried to keep my mind off of it, but it was hard, you know. I was trying to live that college lifestyle. I was trying to party, you know, every week, if not every night, party and hang out with the guys and hang out with girls, and I'm drinking and I'm smoking. And I had a girlfriend back home that I was going to see all the time. And then I'm having to go back and I'm still meeting with my lawyer all the time. And it's still, people are still asking me about it. I'm still I'm paranoid all the time. And I'm stressed out when I see police, and it was terrible, you know. And the football team wasn't very good that year. They had a terrible season. They lost every game that season. And I remember right before finals week, the position coach that had recruited me and told me he wanted me to come there, you know, months earlier. He called me to the office, and I went into his office, and he told me that, you know, basically, him and all the coaches on the staff were going to be fired. The athletic director had been fired, and that they weren't going to have a job there anymore. So that the best thing he thought for me to do was to transfer to another school. So I was going to have to start over, you know, and that was hard. And then it made it harder a couple of days later, before I took my first final. My dad, he called me on the phone, and he said that, hey man, you got a warrant for your arrest. We need you to drive back down here so you can turn yourself in. Then we're gonna get you out, and you're gonna have to drive back so you can take the rest of your final exam. So it's by now it's been over a year since this situation had happened at the party, and I had been going to court and meeting with my lawyer and doing all that, and nothing happened in a year's time, in 12 months. And then right before I take my finals, I had to go turn myself in to the McLennan County Jail for something I didn't do. They gave me a $100,000 bond, $100,000 bail bond to get out of jail. If I'm not mistaken, you got to pay about 10% of that to get out. So my family had to find a way to pay thousands of dollars for me to get out of jail, so I could go back to college and take my finals. And when I got back, there was no way I could focus on doing well in my finals. I wasn't, and I hadn't been really studying for it. I wasn't thinking about it. I was thinking about what's next after this. What's going on? Am I gonna have to transfer? Where am I gonna transfer? What's gonna happen with this case? What are people looking for me? Am I gonna beat this? You know, what's going on? You know, and then I remember, I don't know what they did or how they did it, but basically the Waco police called the police in the city where I was at, where the university was at. They called the campus police because they had found out I was going to school there somehow. And when I first came back, I had just gotten back from turning myself in jail, drove up the highway to take this final, just gotten back to campus, right? The campus police officer comes into my dorm room and he tells me to put my hands behind my back. And I'm like, man, for what? He's like, sir, I'm not gonna argue with you, put your hands behind your back. I'm like, man, I just got out of jail last night. I just turned myself in, man. I know you don't got no warrant. What do you want? What? And he's like, turn his hands behind your back. And so he ends up grabbing me, and we're wrestling in the room. I'm yelling at him. He's yelling. I'm trying to tell him, like, man, I know what's going on. So he called the dispatcher on his little walkie-talkie to see if they had a warrant for my arrest. And of course they told him, you know, I turned myself in, and that there wasn't no, you know, there wasn't any warrant, you know. So he apologized, and there's nothing to be said. I had nothing to say to him. Like, you made a mistake, man. It's just stuff like that I was dealing with, you know. There was no way I could, you know, take my final and focus on it, man. So I went in there, you know, bullshitted my way through it, and I left, you know, and that was the end of that. That was the end of 2016. So I had a homeboy of mine named Mallory Jackson, who played cornerback at that school we were at, and we had gotten close. We'd been training together, working together. We both played the same position, you know, so we were making each other better. And he decided that we should transfer to Blinn College out in Birmingham, Texas, and see if we could walk on and try out there. I was like, cool. I'm like, all right, we still got a chance, we still got hope, we still got an opportunity. But we went there with good intentions. You know, it started out good. I had a rent house out there I was living at, you know, my own little place, you know, with like 2 roommates. You know, I have my car, I'm driving to campus every day, I'm loving it. It's right by Houston. You know, we're going to parties, we're doing everything. And on top of that, whenever we get out of class, we're going to the field. We're going to 707, we're practicing, we're working out all the time, every day, you know. But I still have my same habits. I still have my same things that I was doing to try to self-medicate and self-cope with what I was dealing with. I started smoking weed every day. I started drinking alcohol every day. I would skip classes. I would leave early during the week on Thursday, skip class Friday just to drive to Waco to go see my girlfriend that I had outside of Waco, just to go stay with her for the weekend, just to get my mind away from everything. Just stupid stuff. Then I'm still having to meet with my lawyer twice a month. I'm still having to go to court twice a month, all the way back to Waco. And it was just wearing on me. So I felt like I had to, you know, smoke weed or drink or get with this girl or get this girlfriend. I had a girlfriend that she would come hang out with me and spend time with me, and it was really distracting after a while. I thought that I was having fun, but really I was slacking. I was getting off my game, and after a while I stopped hanging out with my boys and going to the field and working out and getting ready for the tryout, because we had a tryout to walk onto the team in May at the end of the semester. That's what we were working for. When we transferred there in January, that was the plan. That's what we were working towards. And around, you know, March or April, I started slacking. I started hanging out with this girl and just sitting at the house all day, skipping class, doing stuff I didn't have no business doing. And one day my boys, they came to my house and they're like, man, what are you doing? You in here smoking? Why you not? We supposed to be getting ready for the tryout. What are you doing? And they just left. And there was nothing I could say because they didn't know what I was going through, and I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to tell them. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to talk about it. And my grades were terrible. It was really no different than my first semester of college. And I ended up moving back to Waco for the summer. Once I moved back to Waco, I ended up linking up with some old friends from high school that I got in an apartment together. And, you know, it wasn't the worst apartment in the world. You know, it could have been worse, but, you know, it was, sometimes it'd be like 7, 8, 9 people over there with nothing to do. And it was just a waste of time. It wasn't beneficial for me. I felt like I was suffering fighting this case, and I dove into just feeling bad for myself and self-loathing. So I used girls and weed and alcohol and partying to try to fix that, and it wasn't working. It never works. You have to go through what you're going through and get it over with. You can't, after you get high or after you're not drunk anymore, that problem is still going to be there. It doesn't go away. And you know, it was a bad time. You know, I lost a lot of weight. I stopped working out completely. You know, I went from a solid 170, 175 pounds to about 100, 150, 148 pounds. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to go back to college and try it again. I didn't know if they were gonna, keep calling me to court. I didn't know if they were gonna drop the case because there was no evidence. They weren't telling me anything. I'd go to court and the girl wouldn't show up. Her family wouldn't show up. It would just be me, my mama, my lawyer, and a bunch of other people with charges. There's nothing to do. There was no trial date. I pled not guilty from the jump. I told them, hey, we're going to fight this. We're going to trial. We're not taking any plea. My first offer was 10 years probation. They told me after they indicted me that they're going to offer me 10 years probation. That meant that after being on probation for 10 years and doing all that and registering as a sex offender for 10 years, that I'll be able to get off already. For me, that wouldn't work for several reasons. First of all, I didn't do this. I didn't do what you're saying I did. I'm innocent. I didn't sexually assault anybody. I would never have to do that. That is the worst thing you can do to somebody. Second of all, I had a scholarship to go to a school that was 2 hours away, meaning that it wasn't in the same county. When you're on probation, you have to stay in that county where you're on probation at. That meant that I wouldn't be able to leave ever without permission, ever. So there would be no college. And I wasn't trying to go to college in the city because there was nowhere I had a scholarship. There was nowhere for me to go. So fall of 2017, I decided to stay home and try to get my mind right. That's what I kept telling myself. Really what that meant was I'm gonna stay here, get an apartment, smoke weed, drink, party, hook up with girls, and keep it pushing. And maybe something will happen with this case. Maybe they'll drop it. Maybe I'll win. Maybe if I keep praying and my mama and them keep paying all this money and I keep telling my lawyers the truth and I keep going to court, even though this girl who said I did this is not showing up to court to prove I did this or to fight this or whatever, maybe something will happen. So I get an apartment. I got my homeboys over there. I got these girls over there, and there's a pool, and there's a volleyball pit, and it's right by Baylor up the street from the stadium, and I'm getting free tickets to the games, and I'm just trying to have a good time. I'm not working out. I don't know when I'm going back to college. My mom's always asking me, hey, when are you going back? What are you going to do when you're going back to college? And I just keep telling her, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to just making up bullshit because I couldn't tell her how I was feeling on this. I couldn't tell her I'm scared, I'm terrified. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen to my life. What happened to my life? Why is God allowing these people to keep dragging me on and on and on? Why is this happening? And around December of the end of that year, of 2017, I woke up early one morning and I was upset. I think somebody had said something about the case or whatever, and how they were saying that I was basically a fucked up person and something like that, and it bothered me because I had heard stuff like that before, 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, they talk a whole lot of, and also when I moved back to Waco, and also that summer, before I got my apartment, and then also after, I was fighting a lot. I had a lot of beef with a lot of people, over dumb stuff, over girls, there was a lot of people that I went to high school with, that felt like because of, what was being said about me and what I was going through, that I didn't deserve an opportunity to go to college. I didn't deserve to have fun. I didn't deserve to get to go to these parties at Tarleton State, at Texas A&M, Texas State, Texas Tech, the University of Oklahoma, Grambling, Prairie View. They didn't like seeing me doing well because they felt like I didn't deserve it, or they felt like they should have it. So they were using what was being said about me as permission to come at me aggressively. I would go to parties and I'd get into fights. I couldn't even, after a while, we couldn't even enjoy the fights or enjoy the party, excuse me, because we'd be outside fighting in the grass over nothing, man. And it started to wear on me. So one day, I was just upset, and I wanted to figure out why this was still going on. You know, it had been almost 2 years since it happened now, you know, over 2 years, and nothing had happened with the case, you know. And they don't tell you, but once the court, once you do get in trouble and there's a case on you, the district attorney can keep that case open for 5 years. They don't have to do anything with your case for 5. They can just keep dragging you on like a little puppy out for 5 years until they decide whether they want to drop it or they want to convict you, whatever they want to do, you know. And it's been over 2 years since this situation that happened at their party, and my lawyer was still telling me, you know, there's nothing we can do. You know, it's your say against hers. She's not coming to court. The court's going to keep extending court dates until she shows up, and there's nothing we can do. You know, and I got tired of hearing that. I got tired of hearing that there was nothing we could do to fix my life. I wanted my life back. I was upset, and I wanted some get back. I wanted revenge, like any normal person does, like we do sometimes in life. And I got on Instagram, and one of my homeboys we had like a joint account. So I went on his account and I pretended to be him, you know, and I went and found this girl in her mom's profile. And I went on there and I was just saying how upset I was, and saying that, you know, they were wrong for what they said I did because it wasn't true, and that they should go to hell for that, and all this. And I was angry, and, you know, we had never talked after that. It was just, okay, they said you did this, and that's it. You're not allowed to talk to them anymore. Because I never knew how they really felt, and I guess I wanted them to talk back to me, and of course they never did, and I thought I was gonna get away with it, but they figured out it was me pretty quickly. So one day, it was Super Bowl Sunday, actually, 2018. I was sitting outside in front of my apartment, and in my car, and I had a couple blunts, and I rolled up and everything. You know, I was just sitting in there. That's one thing I used to do. I would sit in my car and I would hotbox by myself, you know. It was early in the morning. I don't know why I was up there early, probably like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, you know. And there was like a live-in police officer. He lived at the apartment complex I lived at, but he was like a real police officer, and he used to come and monitor all the time the apartment. And a lot of times I'd be in my car chilling, you know, with loud music, and he'd come to the car and he'd be like, hey, people are sleeping or whatever, can you please turn the music down? So he had told me before, and this time was probably like the 3rd or 4th time. And I remember he came to the car, and, you know, he's knocking or whatever, he's got a little flashlight, and he's like, hey man, you know, I'm not gonna keep trying to be your dad, man. You need to listen to me, you know, you need to listen. You know, he turns his music down. Of course, he's smelling the weed now. He's got his window down, he's smelling. And, you know, at that point, I had enough. I had had enough. I was tired of police. I was tired of people telling me what I need to be doing this. I was upset. So of course, I told him, I was like, hey man, you know, I'm a grown man. If I want to come out here and listen to my music, I can do that. Not thinking, you know, there's weed in the car. What are you talking about? But that's what your mind does when you're upset. You don't make smart decisions. So he was like, you know what? You stay right there. You stay right there. And he gets on his walkie-talkie, and he calls back up. He calls for backup. And then, of course, now it's like, oh, I'm scared now. Hey, man, I'm sorry. You know, I'm saying all that. I'm sorry. He's like, nah, you stay right there. So I try to get out the car. He puts his knee in the car. He pulls his gun out. He points it in my face like that. And he's like, don't move. don't move, stay right there, do not move. You know what I'm saying? And like 3 police officers pull up, back to back, pull up. And they come out the car and they're like, hey, put your hands on the steering wheel. I put my hands on the steering wheel. I'm just like, damn, man. Fortunately, I had smoked both of the blunts. There was nothing they could really use. So that wasn't the problem. So they put me out the car, searched the car, couldn't find anything, put me in handcuffs. And of course they searched me, they did all that. Pulled me, pulled my shorts open, pulled my underwear, looked in there, trying to see, just doing what cops do. And they put me in the back of the car. And, at that point, I'm scared because, the condition of my bond after I was bonded out, in December 2016, the condition of my bond is I would be out, but if I got into any more trouble, I'd be stuck in jail until they did something with my case. There was no way for me to get out if I got into any more trouble with the law. Okay, so I was trying to tell them, in the car, hey, I don't want any problems. I was just outside my apartment listening to music. I live here, I'm a resident here. Just let me go back in the house. I don't give you any more problems. So, of course, they took my ID and they ran my name in their system. And while I'm in the back of the car, the police officer was driving, looks back at me, and he says, you had a warrant? Like, a warrant for what? Like, no, I haven't done anything. No, I'm not even thinking about the other stuff. He's like, yeah, you got a warrant for retaliation. Like, retaliation, what is that? He's like, they're gonna tell you when you get, to the jail. So I'm just like, man, like, I can't get in any more trouble. What is retaliation? So it was like a 3rd-degree felony. So the bond wasn't as high as what they had given me at first, the $100,000 one. I think this one was about a $750 bond to get out. So I was there overnight, well, Sunday night. I didn't call my mom or anybody to tell them what was going on. I just called my bail bondsman, and they got me out that night. I didn't want them to know because they knew, just like I knew, I couldn't get in any more trouble. I was gonna be stuck in jail without any way to get out. So they let me out. They let me out that night at like 2:30 in the morning in February. And I didn't have anything on but some shorts, a t-shirt, and some slides. It was probably maybe 12 degrees outside, and I had to walk all the way from the jailhouse back to my apartment. Then when I get back to my apartment, I find out they towed my car for whatever reason. And I left my apartment wide open, and I went in and went straight to sleep. And about a day or two went by, and I didn't know what was gonna happen, but I called my mom, and by then she had found out, even though I hadn't talked to her. And she's like, where were you? Where are you? And I said, I'm at the apartment. She's like, nah, you're not at the apartment. I'm like, yes, I am. Mama, please, you want me to call you on the office phone? Can you please come here so I can talk to you, right? And she's like, okay. So she comes all the way from Hewitt all the way to by the Baylor football stadium to come see me, So she sees me, she runs. I met her at the door, she sees me, she runs. She's hugging me, she's crying. And I told her, hey, let's go sit in the car. I'm gonna tell you what's going on. I think I know what's going on. Of course I really didn't. I was just gonna tell her something to try to make her feel better, So we get in the car, in my mom's car, and I'm trying to talk to her and tell her what I think is going on, right? And as I'm telling her this, I see 2 cop cars pull up. And I'm just like, nah, they can't be coming to get me. They're not coming no, we're not doing this again. So they pull up, and one pulled up right beside my mom's car. The other one pulled up right behind us because there was a car parked on the opposite side of us. So there's two cars parked on both sides of us. There's a police car parked right directly behind us, like he's trapping us in the spot. I was like, nah, it's not again. They just let me out. They wouldn't let me out if that was the case. So this big fat sheriff gets out the car. He's got a big cowboy hat on, and the other one gets out of his car. And they knock on my mom's side window, and they say, hey, we need to talk to your passenger. And the other one comes on my side, and he opens the door. And he's like, get out. And he grabs me. I have my leather jacket on. He grabs me by my jacket. He's pulling me out the car. I'm holding on to the car. And I'm like, what's going on? I just got out of jail 2 days ago. What are you doing? What are you talking about? They're like, just get out of the car. They're yelling and cussing, doing all that type of stuff. And my mom, she's trying to tell him, I just paid his bail to get him out. What do you mean? What's going on? You know? So they put me in the back of the police car. I'm screaming, I'm doing all that. And they told my mom that because I had been out on bond and then gotten in trouble again, even though they let me out again, that the judge had found I needed to revoke my bond, meaning that they issued another warrant to go pick me up again and take me back to jail because I had violated the rules of my bail bond agreement from the first one. So when they booked me into jail that time, they said that I had an insufficient bond, which meant that there was no way for me to get out. So I remember I called my mom on the phone, on the jail phone, and she was just saying, like, son, there's nothing we can do. You might have to talk to your lawyer and get you a bond reduction, and maybe we can get you out of there as soon as we can, man. But you have to stay strong. Just stay strong, and nothing else could be said. Like, there's nothing else you can say. So I hung up the phone. This is my first time in jail, you know. I had been in jail, of course, but I never had to sit in there and stay longer than 24 hours, you know. At this time, I'm just 19 years old, you know, and I didn't know what I was getting into, man, and it was hard because now it's like, you know, I'm in jail, I can't get out, and I'm in jail for something that I did not do. Like it's so hard for me to describe that feeling and really have to explain what it feels like. You almost have to go through it to understand. So I'm sitting in there, and my lawyer's coming to see me, and he's saying, "Oh, well, we can get you a bond reduction, do all this and that," you know. And I'm learning the jail process of how I'm going to eat and how the rules work in jail, and dealing with different types of people and different types of guards and different types of criminals, and I'm in there with all different types of people, you know. And I can carry myself for the most part, but it's a different, unless you've been locked up, it's hard to explain. It's hard to understand unless you've been in there. It's a whole different world, and that's the world I was exposed to when I was 19 years old. So my lawyer, he would come to see me and everything like that, and I wanted to get out. I wanted to get back to my life because I still had plans. I still wanted to live a normal, regular life. I still wanted to do all the things that I had said I was going to do when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, you know. So I told him I'd do whatever I needed to do to get a bond reduction. So we'd go to court. He set a court date to get a bond reduction. Basically, we'd have to ask the judge of the county if I could get a bond reduction so we could pay a bond so I could get back out into the world so I could fight my case and be free. So we went to the court date. It was just me, my mama, the judge, my lawyer, and the district attorney. who was prosecuting this case, the girl wasn't there again. And when it came time to talk, remember, the prosecutor came and told the judge, we don't think he should get a bond reduction. He's out here threatening people. Why would we need to let him back out into society if he's threatening the same person who said that, that they did this to them? Why would we let him out? They didn't want me to get out. They asked my mom to understand, and the prosecutor asked her, she was like, do you know your son's out here threatening people, saying that they should go to hell and this and that. Basically just saying, your son's bad. We don't think you should get out. And they weren't asking any questions about what kind of person is he, do you think he did what they said. They didn't ask any of that. They just asked what they wanted to ask, And at the end of the court date, the judge said, that my bond reduction was denied, and that I was going to have to remain in jail until they decided what they wanted to do with my case. So we're back to square one. I'm stuck in jail. I'm going through it, About 6 or 7 months go by, and I was ready to go. I was ready to go. I was ready to move on with my life, and they'd offered me probation before, like I had said. They'd offered me 10 years probation, and at first I told them no, because I'm innocent. I didn't do this, and I asked my lawyer if we can get that offer back, if we can get the probation offer back, So they went and talked to the prosecutor, and I guess they decided that would be something that we could do. So we went through the whole process, the PSI, the pre-sentence investigation. It went on for about 2 months. And then we finally get the court date in about October of 2018, I want to say. Got the court date. Remember, I walked into the courtroom in my little jail onesie. I got handcuffs on my wrists, I got handcuffs on my ankles. When I walk in, I sit in the courtroom, my little spot where they tell you to sit. And my lawyer, he walks up to me, and keep in mind that I had been praying. I've been hoping that I was going home, and my mama was there, and she had my clothes ready just in case they let me go. Everybody was, we wanted this. This was the way out, and my lawyer, he walks up to me, he says, Cairo, I got good news and I got bad news. And I already knew what it was. I was just, after he told me that, my heart dropped to my ass. Like I said, man, what, man? Tell me. He's like, man, they don't want to give you probation. Well, they will give you all your back time. You've been in there for about 8 months. To give you all your back time. And they'll give you a 5-year sentence. I'm like, what? Like, how is that good news? How is that supposed to help? You saying they want to give me 5 years in prison for something that I didn't do, man. I said, man, you know what? We're going to trial. We were going to have to go to trial. And I got up and left, and that was it. There was nothing else to talk about. That was completely unacceptable. That wasn't going to work, And my mom was hurt by that. Everybody was hurt by that. But we had to continue to move on, So the next court date we had, we kept telling them, we denied that offer, and we're going to have to go to trial. And, it was just a waiting game. It's all we could do was just wait. And a lot of people don't remember, but at that time, there was a lot going on in McLennan County, in the Waco district. You had about 200 motorcycle gang people that went and they had shot up this little restaurant called Twin Peaks in Waco. And all of them pled not guilty. You had all of them on the trial docket, like 200 people. Then there was a Baylor sex scandal that had happened my senior year of high school in 2016, where about 20 or so, I might be wrong, it was a bunch of football players that they had said had sexually assaulted some girls at the university. They fired the whole coaching staff and whoever else, and all those young men that were charged on the trial, all of them said, hey, I'm not guilty too. So you had all these cases that are considered high profile because the media talks about them. Then you have mine, which was not talked about by the media hardly, at the very bottom, because mine was considered a low profile case because it's two 17-year-old kids. No one cared what we were dealing with. No one cared what I was going through. So I was the bottom of the list, waiting on all of them to get out of the way. After all of them get the chance to go to trial, then I'll get my chance. And while I was sitting in there, in jail, in the county jail, I met a lot of guys who had similar cases to mine, and they were telling me some of them had been there for 3 or 4 years, sitting in jail, waiting to go to trial. So you're telling me that I can sit in here for 3 or 4 years, then go to trial with the possibility of losing and getting sentenced. And with the case that I had, they gave me 2 counts. They gave me 1 count for my finger, and they gave me another count for the actual intercourse for my penis. So I had 2 counts, which meant that they could stack those 2 counts. The charge, which is sexual assault, it carries 2 to 20 years. You can get anywhere from 2 to 20 years for that. So meaning, if I went to trial and lost, they could give me 2 counts of 20 years stacked, which would be 40-year sentence for something that I didn't do. There's no way I would allow somebody to, there's no way I could let somebody give me 40 years in prison for something like that. So after sitting in jail for 13 months, the lawyer came and saw me and said, man, it doesn't look like you're going to trial anytime soon, man. They don't have any evidence, but I went and talked to the prosecutor, and they feel like they can prove that you did this. They feel like with what's going on right now in Waco, they feel like they can convince a jury to give you at least a 5-year sentence. I said, man, you know what? I need to think about it. And I talked to my mom, and we'll call you and let you know what we want to do. That's all I could say. He's like, all right, so you left. When I got back from the visit, my attorney, I went back into my cell. I went, it was like an 8-man cell with 7 other people in there, and I didn't want them to see me be emotional. It's a bunch of men. I didn't want them to see me being emotional or crying, so I went and sat on the toilet, which has got a little wall in front of it. I went and sat on the toilet, and I just sat there on the toilet, man, and I looked up at the ceiling and closed my eyes, and I prayed. I prayed to God, and I was like, man, if you want me to go to trial and fight these people and try to beat this case, man, just send me a sign. If you want me to go to prison and get this over with and just trust you and have faith, just send me a sign, just send me a sign. I'm sitting in the toilet, I'm just like, man, send me a sign. And I didn't get a sign. But a couple of days later, I felt in my heart and in my spirit that no matter what happened, I was gonna be okay. No matter what happened, I was gonna come out on the other side, and everything was gonna work out, and I was gonna get my life back. So I called my mom on the jail phone and told her to tell my lawyer to come back and see me. And when he came and saw me a couple days later, I told him, I've been here for 13 months, man. I'm ready to move on my life. this is a hard thing that I'm going through, but I feel like I'm never gonna get justice. It's me against this white family that's not even showing up to these court dates for the past 2 years. And I don't think I'm gonna win, man. So I told him I had to make a grown man decision. I told him, if you could talk to the prosecutor and tell him to give me all my back time, my 13 months back time, tell him that I'll sign for a 3-year penitentiary sentence, which meant that I'd have to go down there for 2 years at the max. Tell him that I would take that deal and I would sign for that in court. After I told him that, the way he made it sound is since I've done 13 months, if I was to get a 3-year deal, okay, just listen to me. If I was to get a 3-year deal, it would mean that because of the case that I had, I'd have to do half my sentence to be eligible for parole, which meant that since I did 13 months, and they were gonna give me all of that credited towards the sentence, that meant that I would have to do, I have to do 5 more months, right, in prison. Then I'd be able to see parole and then get out. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go down there for 5 months and then be out. That's the way he made it sound. That's not what happened, but that's what we were hoping for. So we went to court, and it was the same as it always been. And I was glad that it was over. You know, it was just me. My mom wasn't there because I didn't tell her what decision I had made. You know, I had to make a grown man decision on my own. So it was just me, my lawyer, the prosecutor, and the judge. Nobody else was there. The girl and her family didn't even show up, you know. And I think about that every day. You know, why do we even have to go through this? If you weren't gonna even show up, why would you, you know? And when the judge said what he said he was giving me a 3-year sentence. My lawyer looked at me, shook my hand, said, "Good luck." He walked off, and they took me away, took me back to my cell. And, you know, my plan was, for going to prison, I told myself was that I was going to go down there for however long, hopefully 5 months. I was going to work out every day. I had been working out the whole 13 months I was in jail. I was going to work out hard every day, stay out of trouble, get a bunch of tattoos, take good care of myself, make parole, and come back home and be back like that, man. And I went down there with the same mindset, just working out, staying out of trouble, staying away from bullshit, just focusing on me mentally, physically, and spiritually, getting better every single day, just like I was doing since I was a kid, you know. And it was some hard moments. It was, you know, it's just like you see on TV almost. You got people that don't want to see you succeed. You got people that want to hurt you. You got people that want to fight you, people that want to talk about you. But you have to find the strength in yourself. I had to find the strength in myself to make sure that I was okay as a young man, as a 19-year-old boy in the Texas penitentiary, you know. And I did that by going to rec in the morning and in the evening, working out. I did that by going to classes. I did that by going to church on Sunday. I did that by reading books, going to the library. I read thousands and thousands of books on taking care of your mind and your spirit. Books like, you know, The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene, the 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Human Chess. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, Think and Grow Rich. Just stuff like that changes the way you think. That's what I had to do in order to survive. I took classes on manhood, on being a better man, being a better father. Even though I don't have kids, I took classes on, you know, cognitive intervention, changes, different stuff like that, teaching you about, having boundaries with people, not crossing boundaries, being professional, being a real mature adult, being a better person, because my goal was to get out of prison and be a better person than I was when I came to prison. That was my goal, When 2020 came, I saw parole in October of 2019. And then I got my answer that I made parole in January of 2020, right before COVID died. I remember I heard it on the radio when it happened. A couple months later, I got sick. Not even a couple months later. I think it was in February. It had to be. I got sick in February 2020. I didn't know what it was. This is before COVID was really getting popular. I was sick, and I lost my voice, couldn't talk, and I just stayed in the bed for like 2 or 3 days. Then my cellmate got sick. Then the next cell, our neighbor, my homeboy, they got sick. Then the whole downstairs got sick, because in there you got like a 50-man dorm. You got like 25 or however many, 24 on the bottom. Then you got so many up top, upstairs. All of them got sick. Everybody got sick. Then like a week later, we had the warden. The warden came in, and by then it had been on the news about COVID. We weren't taking it seriously because we were not in the world. We were locked up. The warden came to each wing. He told us, he's like, hey, this COVID thing is real. From now on, we're not doing rec, and you're not getting any visits. You're not getting any visits from your family right now. So people who have kids and wives and families and stuff like that couldn't see their kids because of COVID. I didn't see my mom for a year because of COVID. And what happens is when someone on your wing is sick with COVID, whether you made parole or not, if y'all are on lockdown, you're not going home. You're not getting out on parole. So if you have a 50-year sentence and you've done 25 years and you make parole, and where you're at's on lockdown because somebody has COVID, you're not going home. You're gonna have to sit here until COVID is handled. They're dealing with this right now. You have to sit and wait for them to figure this out, then they'll let you go when they feel like. So I got stuck. After I made parole, I got stuck in prison. They sent me to another prison that was kind of like a pre-release, because by then I only had, about a year or less left on my sentence anyway, and I had a feeling that I was gonna have to do my whole sentence anyway. And I think it's crazy how God, your higher power, can take a situation as bad as an incurable virus with no cure, or going to prison for something that, you didn't do, to use it for something positive, to turn it into a good thing. I like to think about the story of Joseph in the Bible, how Joseph did nothing wrong and all this bad stuff happened to him. Joseph was in prison for something that he did not do. And God restored him and gave him everything he lost back, and then 3 times that, 10 times that, and just looking at what I'm about to do right now and different things that I'm working on. And when I left and went to the last prison I was at, I met a guy, his name was Alan, and he helped me a lot with different things. He showed me some different things that I can use to start my own business and to make money, and to different things I could do to be a functioning adult out there in society, even though I'm a felon, and he gave me a book. I want to show you the book. Let me show it to you. Hold on. He gave me 2 books. He gave me this one right here. It's called YouTube for Business, right? It talks about how to use YouTube and networking and stuff like that for your business, okay? It's just, it's just amazing how God can take the worst situation and put you around some of the best people and the right people at the right time. And what I want to get at and talk about and say is how God had to put me around some of the worst people in order for me to meet the best people I could have met for my life. And my friend, he gave me another book. It's called How to Start Your Own Personal Training Business, okay? And I read this book cover to cover, and I analyzed it because that was my dream. What I wanted to do was I wanted to go to college for kinesiology or athletic training, get a 4-year degree, okay, and then move on. And I found out in this book, you don't have to have a degree to be a personal trainer. You don't have to have a degree to do what I do, okay? You have to get a certification with either the American College of Sports Medicine or the ISSA or whatever, you know, take a little test. And my dream my whole life, what I wanted to do was, I've always, because, you know, I was a little guy growing up. I was one of the smallest guys on the team. And when I was in Pee Wee, and my dad would tell me all the time, you know, hey man, I think you let sports go. I don't think you got it in you. I think you're too small, and I don't think you're gonna be able to hang with the other kids, you know. And it bothered me for a while, and so I grew up watching, you know, wrestling and bodybuilders like Arnold and all those guys from Pumping Iron. I watched all that stuff, and you know, I wanted to lift weights for a while, and my mom wouldn't let me till I was 14 because she thought it might stunt your growth, you know. So when I was 14, I had my mom take me to the Y so I could teach myself how to lift weights, and I've been lifting weights since I was 14, and I started bodybuilding after I got kicked out of school in the 10th grade. I got in trouble in my ROTC class, and I was kicked out of school the first time, actually. And I knew that I would eventually be coming back to high school for my junior season, and that, for people who know, that's probably the most important season for someone who's trying to get recruited to go play in college, you know. And so while I was away, what I would do is I would work out hard. And I started looking into different ways I could get bigger, and bodybuilding, and different supplements I could take, like creatine or protein, whatever protein shake, that's the best, whatever. And I came across this league called the NPC. It's the National Physique Committee. Talk about it here. And I joined the league. Basically, it's an amateur bodybuilder. That's the level you have to compete at before you go and become a professional bodybuilder or men's physique competitor, which is my division, which is men's physique. Okay, and I joined the league and joined the team division when I was 16 years old, and I fell in love with it, you know. And I remember there was a guy there named James Allen, and what he would do is he would come to each competition, right? I would see him after a while. After I started going to each competition, I would see him in Dallas and Houston, San Antonio, wherever. He'd always be there. And what he would do was he would take pictures professionally. He was a photographer. He would take pictures of all the athletes there, right? Because they had a contract with the league to take pictures for the website, which he would put on their website. Then on the side, he would have little business cards and posters for individual and family photo shoots that he would do with whatever athletes wanted to work with them, you know. And I came up with this idea of, you know, how can I combine personal training and fitness with art and photography and make it one thing, you know? And that's what inspired me for this art, to do this, right? For me, it's almost like a combination, you know? Because one thing I learned is that, you know, art is, almost everything is art. Art is not just what you see, it's what you hear, smell, taste, it's all of your senses. And it's, when you're shaping your body, when you're working out, when you're trying to be fit, that's an art form. You're taking what's on the inside and you're expressing it. And one thing that I realized with myself is, when I was going through what I was going through, not only did I use the negative things that I was doing to try to express what I was going through, but I would always remember, for the most part, to work out. When I was going through my jail time and when I first came to prison, I always remembered to work out because no matter how I felt, with what I was going through, I knew that I could feel better and get out a little bit and kind of self-medicate myself with expressing myself and working out, which is what, that's the main thing that I support, that I stand for, is people expressing themselves, people being together, helping each other express what they're going through. That's all it is. That's all I'm trying to do now, and it's just, it was life-changing. So I've been out of prison for, I don't know, maybe going on 3 or 4 months now. I was released from prison on February 5th, 2021, after I completed my entire 3-year sentence. And, it's now, I just feel like I said, that I'm here to help and to help people, almost like a talent scout, almost. Whatever, it doesn't have to be fitness. Whatever you feel like you want to do, whatever your talent is, whatever you love doing, whatever you're passionate about, I want to help you with that and give you what you need to get you in that direction so that you can elevate and continue to progress and be better at whatever it is you want to do. It doesn't have to be working out or bodybuilding or men's physique, or it can be anything. I just want to help people express themselves, express what they're going through, because we all go through different things. I know what I went through was terrible, but it could have been a lot worse. My higher power has taken, just with a little amount of faith that I had, my higher power has elevated me to a level that I could have never done by myself, that I could have never done if this terrible situation didn't happen to me. I spent so much time asking God, why me? Why are you letting this happen? Why is this happening to me? Why are you letting these people say this stuff about me? Why are you not making a change? And it was because there was no way I could understand what he was going to do. There was no way. They say at church all the time, God's plan for you is so much bigger and greater than anything you could imagine for yourself. Anything. And he showed me that. He truly showed me that. And, I know that, it could have been a lot worse. I could have gotten a lot more time for something that I did not do. And I know I had to make a sacrifice, and, but I'm thankful, because since I've been back home in this short amount of time, I've seen people that I went to high school with, grew up with, and they're struggling right now. They're lost right now. They're down bad. It could have been worse. I'm thankful. And I just want to move on and continue to just try to live the best life that I can and make smart decisions and be around the right people. I want to engage with you. I know I don't have all the subscribers in the world, but this is just the beginning. This is something that I want to build and continue to build on for years and years and years. This is something I want to do for the rest of my life, is help people with their fitness goals, and also help people mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, because we all go through things in life. And I feel like God allowed me to go through what I went through so that I can take what I've learned and help the next generation, or help my generation, or whoever, So, it's just, it's all been a blessing, honestly. It really has. It's all been a blessing. And all I can do is continue to try to get better every single day. For me, for my family, for my higher power, with everything they blessed me with, I have to continue to do better. I have to.